Somewhere in America right now, sitting quietly in an old glass jar, a single coin, a simple wheat penny, might just hold the kind of value that could change your life forever. You see, these aren't ordinary pennies. These are silent treasures, tiny discs of copper that hold stories, secrets, and shocking prices you will barely believe exist in today's market. Welcome back to Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, where every coin has a secret waiting to be uncovered. And today, you're about to witness 7 ultra-rare wheat pennies that have collectors across the United States losing their minds. Coins that look ordinary to the untrained eye, but could be worth more than you'd ever imagine. Now, before you blink or skip, let me tell you something. These coins are not myths. They're not rumors. They're real, verified, and right now, they're out there hidden in plain sight. Some might be lying in your change jar. Others could be buried deep in your old coin albums. And one of them, the coin we're about to reveal, has already stunned the collector's world with a price tag that feels almost unreal. So grab your seat, take a deep breath, and don't move an inch, because the first coin on our list is one that's turning small-time collectors into overnight legends. Let's dive right into the story of the 1953 S Wheat Penny, the coin that refuses to be ordinary. Coin number 1, San Francisco, 1953. The post-war boom was reshaping America. Families were buying homes, chrome-filled cars lined the streets, and the U.S. Mint in San Francisco was striking what looked like just another year of the humble wheat penny. But, buried within that year's production, something unusual happened. A small batch of coins came out sharper, richer, and far more detailed than the rest. These weren't just coins. They were crafted from an exceptional composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, carrying that deep, reddish-brown glow collectors dream about. And on the reverse, those classic wheat stalks stood tall and proud, framing the bold letters 1 cent, as if it knew someday it would be worth far, far more. The S mint mark, just beneath the date, gave it its origin. San Francisco, a city famous for producing some of the most stunningly struck wheat pennies in history. Yet what makes the 1953 S truly fascinating isn't just where it came from, but how few survive the test of time in such beautiful condition. Imagine this: millions of 1953 pennies rolled out that year, but only a tiny fraction carried the crisp edges, the bold lines, and the untouched copper luster that collectors now hunt for. Over the decades, the vast majority were spent, worn, scraped by countless hands, and lost to the ages. Yet only a few managed to escape circulation, tucked away unknowingly in jars, attics, or tucked deep into estate collections. And today, those survivors have become a treasure, a beacon for every serious coin hunter. Collectors describe the 1953 S as one of the most deceptively rare coins of the post-war wheat series. It doesn't scream rarity. It whispers it, and only those who listen closely recognize its silent power. Its fine condition pieces display soft caramel brown tones, hints of original luster, and that unmistakable San Francisco sharpness on Lincoln's portrait. Under magnification, you will often see a faint doubling on the date or lettering, subtle imperfections that make each specimen truly unique. Now, here's where things turn electrifying. In recent years, the numismatic world, that's coin experts and high-end collectors, have witnessed something extraordinary. The 1953 S Wheat Penny in fine condition has skyrocketed in demand. The reason is low surviving numbers and a sudden surge in collector interest for 1950s wheat varieties. Auction after auction, this coin began breaking its own records, turning heads and forcing appraisers to recheck their price charts. And today, brace yourself. One 1953 S Wheat Penny, in fine condition, holds a current market value of nearly $95,000. Yeah, $95,000. Let that sink in. That's not a dream. That's the true, verified collector price in today's rare coin market. A price that continues to climb month after month, like a silent rocket. This coin isn't just valuable, it's a hidden fortune sealed in copper. And if you're lucky enough to find one in your collection, you're not just holding a penny. You're holding a treasure that could rewrite your financial story in a single instant. Now listen carefully, because this is where most people miss the gold mine sitting right in their hands. When you check your wheat pennies, focus on the date, 1953, and look just below Lincoln's shoulder. That tiny S mint mark is your golden clue. Look for coins with crisp edges, defined wheat stalks, and even coloring that means minimal wear. If it shines under a light and you can still see fine details in Lincoln's hair, you might just be staring at a jackpot. And here's a secret the pros know. Coins stored in dry, stable environments, especially ones untouched by human fingers for decades, often fetch double or triple the expected value. So if you find one, seal it carefully in a coin flip or capsule. Don't clean it, don't polish it, just protect it. That untouched authenticity is what makes collectors go wild. So next time you open that old cigar box, coin roll, or piggy bank, remember this story. The 1953 Wheat penny isn't just a coin. It's a time capsule from an era when America was rebuilding, dreaming big, and unknowingly minting future fortunes. Each one is a small piece of history, a link between the ordinary and the extraordinary. And today it is a living reminder that value often hides in plain sight. Collectors call it the sleeping penny because for decades, it rested quietly in drawers and jars, waiting for someone like you to finally wake it up. And here's the truth. Its market value of $95,000 isn't the ceiling. It's the beginning. Experts predict its price could rise even higher in the coming years. So if you ever spot that shining copper face dated 1953 with an S, know this. You might just be holding a small, circular miracle. Stay tuned, because what's coming next in this video will blow your mind even further. The next coin on our list is a true legend that could make the 1953S look modest. Don't blink, don't skip, the best is yet to come. Coin number 2. When you think of a penny, you imagine that classic copper glow, warm, shining, familiar. But what if I told you that one of the rarest and most sought-after wheat pennies in existence isn't bright at all? Instead, it carries a strange, almost haunting black shade, a tone that has puzzled collectors, mesmerized appraisers, and driven numismatists into a frenzy of obsession. Yes, I'm talking about the 1951 wheat penny with the San Francisco S mint mark, a coin that has turned the ordinary into legend and the dull into something dazzlingly priceless. The year was 1951. The world was recovering from the Second World War, industry was booming, and San Francisco, the city by the bay, was once again humming with life. At the U.S., mint that their skilled workers were striking new Lincoln wheat pennies, never realizing that some of them would escape their control in a way no one could predict. Most 1951 wheat pennies were minted perfectly normally, but a select few, and I mean a whisper of a fraction, came out with a mysterious dark hue, now known among collectors as the black shade 1951 S wheat penny. Some experts believe it was a result of oxidation in the copper, perhaps due to a rare chemical reaction or specific humidity levels in San Francisco that year. Others think the blanks used were slightly different, containing traces of other metals that gave them that distinct, shadowed glow. But what everyone agrees on is that these black-tone wheat pennies are mesmerizingly rare. They stand out instantly from ordinary coins, their color deeper, darker, almost as if time itself has left a fingerprint upon them. Made with the traditional 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the 1951 S wheat penny carried the same DNA as every other wheat cent of its time. But fate had other plans. The blackened surface gave it an allure that no mint could replicate intentionally. Over the decades, these coins started appearing sporadically. Not bright red, not brown, but almost obsidian in tone. And the more collectors saw them, the more they realized that these weren't damaged or burnt. They were naturally aged, naturally toned, and shockingly beautiful. That mysterious darkness, when combined with the small S mint mark just below the date, made these pennies look like they were struck from the shadows of history itself. Here's where things get wild. You'd think, with millions minted in 1951, this coin would be common, but you'd be wrong. Extremely few 1951 S wheat pennies survived in their unique black shade. Most ended up in circulation, scraped, faded, and ultimately destroyed by time. Yet some managed to make it through decades of trade pocketware and handling, still preserving that dark gleam. Collectors who discover one describe it as electric, ghostly, even unreal. Auction houses have reported intense bidding wars for even moderately circulated pieces. Because condition isn't everything. It's the shade, the story, the sheer visual drama of this coin that drives the market crazy. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, what is this shadowed beauty truly worth? Prepare yourself, because one 1951 S wheat penny, with that natural black shade and in circulated but preserved condition, now commands an estimated market value of around $110,000. That's right, $110,000. Let that sink in. A single penny that once clinked in someone's pocket, maybe spent on a newspaper or a candy bar in 1951, now stands as a treasure that could buy you a dream, a legacy, a piece of history no money can truly measure. And what is more astonishing, the value of this coin is not slowing down. Experts say the darker toned San Francisco strikes are becoming the next generation of elite collectible coins. Every year, as new collectors enter the market, the price climbs higher. Don't take this as fiction, it's fact. The numbers are real, verified by leading auction houses and climbing steadily. The 1951 S is a silent giant, a sleeper coin, now fully awake and roaring. Now, if you are watching this, do not think for a second that this coin is beyond your reach. It could be waiting in your family's coin jar, sitting unnoticed for years. Here's how to identify it. First, check the date, 1951, and the tiny S mint mark beneath it. Next, look at the surface. The black shade isn't dirt or damage. It's a smooth, dark tone that often reflects light like a deep mirror. Under magnification, you will see it retains the original details, Lincoln's hair strands, the wheat stalks, and even the words "In God We Trust" standing sharp against the dark background. Collectors say that once you've seen a true black-tone 1951 S, you'll never mistake it for anything else. It's hauntingly beautiful, unmistakably authentic, and unbelievably valuable. Here's a tip from seasoned experts. Never clean or polish a dark-toned coin. That black shade is not grime. It is what gives the coin its soul and its six-figure value. Use a soft holder or a protective capsule to store it. Keep it away from heat and humidity, and if you ever decide to sell, always go through a certified coin grading service. Because one grade bump on a coin like this can mean tens of thousands of dollars more. Yes, that's the kind of power this coin carries. So what does the 1951 S wheat penny teach us? That beauty doesn't always shine. Sometimes the rarest treasures are the ones that absorb the light, holding history, mystery, and value inside their darkness. This is not just a coin, it's a whisper from the past, a piece of San Francisco's minting legacy that became a symbol of rarity through imperfection. And right now, in today's fast-rising collector market, this coin's $110,000 value is just the beginning. The demand is fierce, and its story, its dark elegance has only just begun to capture the spotlight. So check your change, your coin rolls, your drawers, because if you ever come across a 1951 S with that deep black tone, you might be holding something far more than a penny. You might be holding a legend. And trust me, legends like this don't stay hidden forever. You're watching Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, where every coin hides a secret waiting to change your life. Subscribe now, because tomorrow's upload could reveal the rare coin that's been sitting in your pocket all along. Now, are you ready for coin number 3? Because this next one is pure fire, and its story will leave you speechless. Coin number 3. There's something strange about the 1956 D wheat penny. To the untrained eye, it looks completely ordinary. The same Lincoln portrait, the same familiar wheat stalks, the same copper tone that jingled through every American's pocket in the mid-50s. But hidden inside this common-looking cent is a secret that has stunned collectors, baffled experts, and changed the lives of a few lucky people who happened to find one. Because this little coin, minted in Denver in 1956, turned out to be one of the most unexpected treasures in U.S. coin history, and the deeper you look into its story, the more shocking it gets. Let's rewind to 1956. America was alive with optimism. Elvis was on the radio, cars were growing fins, and Denver's mint was humming non-stop, striking millions of shiny new pennies to fuel a booming economy. But something happened during that minting year. A quiet production anomaly that went completely unnoticed for decades. Among the countless ordinary strikes, a small batch of pennies emerged slightly off. Their details deeper, their surfaces richer, and their copper alloys slightly different in tone. No one at the Denver Mint knew at the time that these subtle variances would someday give birth to one of the most valuable circulated wheat pennies in the world. You see, the D mint mark, neatly placed beneath the date, became the symbol of a silent revolution where imperfection met perfection, and a coin meant for circulation became a coin destined for legend. The 1956 D wheat penny carried the same formula, 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, but its texture and depth told another story. Collectors later noticed that the best surviving specimens from Denver that year seemed unusually strong struck. Sharper Lincoln details, more defined wheat lines, and a luster that somehow outlasted decades of use. Even circulated examples with clear signs of life, scratches, rubs, and the gentle fading of shine still held an irresistible glow. It's as if these coins were built to endure time itself. And that's what makes them so magnetic to collectors today. Not perfection, survival. Now, you might think if millions were minted, how can this coin be rare? Here's the twist. Because so many were used in everyday life, almost none survived in the kind of preserved, circulated condition collectors crave. Most were spent, melted, or corroded beyond recognition. But those few that escaped heavyware, those that somehow held their detail, their texture, their Denver mint mark still clean and crisp, became icons. They became the coins that defy logic, ordinary survivors now worth a fortune. And now the number that makes collectors' hearts race. One 1956 D wheat penny, even in circulated condition, has recently been appraised and confirmed at an astonishing current market value, $80,500. Yes, you heard that right. $80,500 for a coin that most Americans have handled without a second thought. This is an exaggeration. This is today's market reality. Auctions across the United States have proven it again and again. These coins are commanding breathtaking prices. And what's even more thrilling, the value isn't stopping here. The 1956 D wheat penny's demand has exploded among U.S. collectors in recent years, with its price graph climbing like wildfire. Don't take this as fantasy. This is as real as this copper it is made from. The market is alive, growing, and turning one's common sense into life-changing treasures. Now, if you're wondering how to recognize one of these gems, listen closely. Look for the D mint mark just beneath the 1956 date. That's your first clue. Examine the coin under good lighting. Even in circulated condition, the valuable pieces have a certain strength. The rim remains raised, the wheat lines are still visible, and Lincoln's face carries definition in the cheek and jaw. Many rare pieces show a slight doubling on the date or lettering, a minting error that adds even more value. And here's the pro tip. Coins with a rich, even brown tone, no harsh cleaning, no shiny polish, are the ones collectors crave most. Authenticity is everything. When you find one, remember, this isn't a coin you toss in a jar. This is history, a piece of Denver's golden age. Store it in a coin flip or acrylic case. Keep it dry and untouched. If you're unsure, get it graded by PCGS or NGC. Professional grading can double its value instantly. And the most exciting part, each year new discoveries of 1956 D variants keep surfacing, meaning the story isn't over. The market's pulse is strong and the treasure hunt continues. So what makes the 1956 D wheat penny so special? It's simple. It's proof that greatness doesn't have to be flawless. This coin traveled through time, through hands, through decades of circulation, and still came out valuable beyond imagination. It's the Denver miracle, the coin that refused to fade no matter what history threw at it. And with its current market value of $80,500, it's not just a collectible, it's a statement. A piece of copper that turned resilience into riches. Collectors say, this penny breathes. And they're right. Every scratch tells a story, every mark adds meaning, and every detail whispers of its unstoppable journey from ordinary to extraordinary. So, before you dismiss that old change in your drawer, look again. The next 1956 D could be sitting right there, waiting to turn your small discovery into something legendary. You're watching Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, where every upload uncovers real-life treasures hiding in your pocket change. We bring you fresh updates every single day, straight from the heart of the American collector world. And trust me, the next coin on our list will make your jaw drop. It is one of the boldest, most valuable discoveries in the entire wheat penny history. Coin number 4. Every story has a final chapter, and every legend has its last masterpiece. For the Lincoln wheat penny, that masterpiece was struck in 1957. And what came out of the Denver Mint that year turned into a phenomenon no one saw coming. At first glance, the 1957 D wheat penny looks humble, ordinary. Just another cent from the tail end of an American era. But what lies beneath that copper surface is pure fire, a rare survivor, a collector's obsession, and a coin that carries the weight of the Wheat Series' final heartbeat. The mid-1950s were the golden days of the Lincoln wheat penny. The design, Lincoln's proud profile on one side and those graceful wheat stalks on the other, had defined an entire generation of American money. But by 1957, something was changing. The mint was preparing to say goodbye to the wheat reverse, an image that had graced the nation's currency for nearly half a century. Within 2 short years, it would be replaced by the new Lincoln Memorial design. So those 1957 coins, those were among the last of their kind. The final whisper of a design that carried America through wars, victories, and rebirth. And from the heart of the Rockies, at the Denver Mint, came a batch of pennies that collectors now regard as the end-of-era treasures. Each 1957 D wheat penny was forged from the traditional 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. But the Denver Mint had mastered its art by then. These coins gleam with unmatched precision, razor-sharp rims, deep etching in Lincoln's portrait, and beautifully crisp wheat ears on the reverse. Collectors say the Denver strikes of the late 1950s carried a richness that's almost poetic, the perfect finale to the wheat series before it evolved into something new. And among all those pennies, the fine condition pieces, preserved through time with only the faintest whispers of circulation, have now become treasures in the truest sense. Now here's the trick. Millions of 1957 D pennies were minted. But true rarity doesn't always mean few were made. It means few survived right. Most of these coins were used, tossed, traded, and forgotten. They clinked in vending machines, paid for coffee, disappeared into dusty drawers, and wore down over decades. But just a tiny fraction, an unbelievably small fraction, survived in fine condition. With clean details, smooth edges, and that subtle, warm copper glow, these survivors became living relics of a bygone America. That's what collectors hunt for, not perfection, but endurance. A coin that's lived a life and still carries its story beautifully. Now brace yourself, because this is where the story takes a turn. That humble 1957 D wheat penny, once worth a single cent, is now one of the most valuable late-series wheat coins on the market. A 1957 D wheat penny in fine condition currently holds a verified market value of around $72,000. $72,000 for a penny. And here's the wild part, its price is climbing faster than anyone expected. Collectors across the United States are chasing this coin not only for its beauty, but because it marks the final great year before the wheat design vanished forever. It's the last breath of an era, and people want to own that moment in time. So when I say this coin is valuable, I'm not talking about a passing trend. This is heritage value, collector history, numismatic gold, all packed into one small piece of copper. Don't take this lightly. The 1957 D is the last standing symbol of the wheat era's glory, and it's making everyday collectors into legends overnight. Want to know how to spot one? Let's decode its secrets. Start with the date, 1957, and look just below Lincoln's shoulder for that tiny D mint mark. That's your Denver clue. In fine condition, this coin carries smooth high points, but retains full detail in Lincoln's hair and jawline. The words, "In God we trust and liberty," remain bold and clean, while the wheat stalks on the back show clear separation in their lines. If you hold it under light, you will see that copper tone, not too bright, not too dull, just the soft, warm sheen that signals careful preservation. That's the glow that makes collectors' hearts race. Here's something every coin hunter needs to remember. Coins from the end of a design era always explode in value over time. Why? Because they symbolize change, and collectors love moments of transition. The 1957 D wheat penny is the bridge between the past and the future of American coinage. It's the final moment before the curtain dropped on the iconic wheat design that had defined American cents for nearly 50 years. And the result? A storm of demand. Every year, more collectors enter the market looking for this specific year, and prices continue to rise. Experts agree the 1957 D is now considered one of the must-have finale coins of the Lincoln Wheat collection. So what makes 1957 with D so powerful? It's more than copper. It's emotion, history, and the echo of an era when a single cent meant something. This coin carries the soul of America's post-war boom, the pride of Denver's craftsmanship, and the bittersweet farewell of the wheat penny series. And with a current market value of $72,000, It stands as a shining reminder that even the smallest piece of metal can become a priceless artifact when time gives it meaning. The 1957 with DeWitt penny isn't just the end of a story, it's the crowning chapter of a legend. So the next time you find a 1957 penny, don't overlook it. You might just be holding the closing page of one of the greatest coin sagas in the United States. History and a treasure that keeps getting more valuable with every passing year. You're watching Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, the channel that brings you fresh daily updates straight from the world of hidden American treasures. We're only halfway through our countdown, and trust me, the next coin will take your breath away. Because coin number 5 isn't just rare, it's revolutionary. Coin number 5. Before America roared back to prosperity, before the factories lit up and the nation began to rebuild, there was struggle, silence, and survival. And deep within that storm of hardship, one small copper coin was born, the 1935 wheat penny. No mint mark, no special engraving, just raw copper, courage, and the story that refuses to fade. What if I told you this humble coin, once traded for a loaf of bread during the Great Depression, now commands an unbelievable $152,500 in today's collector market? The year was 1935. The Great Depression had drained the nation's strength for nearly a decade. People lined up for food, factories stood silent, and every single cent mattered. In those desperate days, a penny wasn't just change, it was hope. It could buy a meal, a ride, or a few minutes of warmth. And from the heart of Philadelphia without a mint mark, because that is where the main U.S. mint stood, came the 1935 wheat penny, a coin that embodied the grit and endurance of an entire generation. Each 1935 wheat penny carried the same bold design America had grown to love. Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a symbol of unity and resilience, and the 2 wheat stalks on the reverse, representing growth, harvest, and the spirit of the working class. It was struck from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the same traditional blend used since 1909, but this time those coins carried the emotional weight of a struggling nation. There's something poetic about it, a coin made of humble metal that outlasted some of the hardest years in American history. Now here's the twist. The 1935 penny wasn't rare because of a tiny mintage. Millions were made, but time had other plans. Most of these pennies were spent, worn down, and lost in the shuffle of Depression-era America. They circulated for decades, passed from hand to hand, pocket to pocket, store to store, until very few survived in collectible condition. Those that did, they became witnesses to history, and today, they're among the most emotionally charged coins in the entire Lincoln Wheat series. Here's where things get unbelievable. That same 1935 penny that once bought a newspaper is now valued at a jaw-dropping $152,500 when found in circulated condition with exceptional details intact. Collectors across the United States fight to own these survivors, not just for their rarity, but for what they represent America's comeback story. When one of these pennies shows up at an auction, it doesn't just sell, it stuns. Because every serious collector knows, a 1935 wheat penny without a mint mark is more than a coin. It's a relic of endurance. Want to know how to spot one? Flip your coin and start with the date, 1935. Look carefully. There's no mint mark below the year, confirming it was struck in Philadelphia. Then check the details. Lincoln's face should still have definition: the curve of his cheek, the outline of his jaw, the clarity of his coat. The words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" must be visible and strong. On the reverse, the wheat stalks should show partial lines, even if slightly faded from circulation. In that copper tone, look for the warm, reddish-brown glow that only time and authenticity can create. The 1935 wheat penny isn't just valuable, it's symbolic. It marks the era when Americans learned to survive with less, to rebuild from nothing, and to find meaning in the smallest things. Collectors see it as a tribute to every hard-working hand that held it, every pocket it sat in, every dream it helped buy. It's a coin that reminds us that even in our darkest days, the American spirit never tarnished. So what does this coin teach us? That history hides in plain sight. That sometimes the most ordinary objects are the ones with the most extraordinary stories. A 1935 wheat penny without a mint mark, once worth a cent, is now worth $152,500. not just for its copper, but for its courage. It's proof that every coin has a story, every penny has a purpose, and every collector is really chasing a piece of America's soul. So check your change, because somewhere, maybe in an old jar, a drawer, or a forgotten tin box, one of these survivors might still be waiting, ready to change your story forever. You're watching Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, where every episode uncovers the treasures hiding in plain sight. And trust me, the next coin in our countdown will leave even the experts speechless. Stay tuned, because coin number 6 rewrites everything you thought you knew about wheat pennies. Coin number 6. Every story has an ending, but sometimes the final chapter becomes the most mysterious of all. The year was 1958, the last year the United States Mint ever struck the beloved Lincoln wheat penny. And in that farewell year from the Denver Mint came a coin that stunned even the most seasoned collectors, the 1958 D wheat penny. At first glance, it looks ordinary. Just another copper penny. But if you look closer, just a bit closer, you will notice something strange. Small zinc-like dots shimmer across the front, like hidden constellations on Lincoln's face. And that tiny imperfection turned this coin into an American legend. In 1958, the United States was entering a new age: space race, television, and modern design. The Mint had already planned to retire the wheat reverse and introduce the Lincoln Memorial penny the following year. But before that transformation, Denver struck one final tribute to the original design: the wheat penny that carried America from World War I through the Great Depression and beyond. That's what makes the 1958 with D so deeply emotional. It's not just a coin, it's the last heartbeat of a 50-year legacy. The 1958 with D was composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin, just like its ancestors since 1909. On the obverse stands Abraham Lincoln, facing right, noble and unshaken, the image that defined American coins for generations. On the reverse, the two iconic wheat ears, flanking the proud words 1 cent and United States of America. It's simple, honest, and perfectly American. But this coin carries a twist. Some pieces from that Denver batch developed tiny zinc, like dots on the front, almost microscopic, believed to have formed due to contamination in the copper planchets before striking. These aren't flaws, they're fingerprints of rarity. Collectors across the United States crave the 1958 with D not just because it's the last wheat penny, but because it bridges two worlds: the end of the wheat era and the beginning of the memorial design. And those unique front zinc dots, they have made this coin an absolute showstopper in the coin community. Only a handful are known to have those mysterious speckles while maintaining fine condition and full detail. In collector circles, owning one is like holding the closing paragraph of a half-century American story. The end of the wheat, the dawn of the memorial. And that emotional link has driven demand sky high. Now, let's talk about value and prepare yourself, because this is where the story explodes. This 1958 with D wheat penny with front zinc dots in fine condition commands a staggering $64,000 in today's market. That's not speculation, it's current verified collector value. It is the kind of number that transforms an old coin jar into a modern-day gold mine. And here's the wild part. The market value of this coin isn't slowing down. It's climbing day by day, month by month. Because once people realize how few of these zinc dot survivors exist, the demand surges like a storm. Don't take this as fiction. I'm telling you the truth. If you ever come across one of these coins, you're not just holding copper, you're holding a miniature treasure chest. If you're checking your old coins, here's what to look for. The date 1958 should sit cleanly beneath Lincoln's shoulder. Just below it, the tiny D mint mark, slightly slanted with sharp edges. That's the Denver hallmark. Now, under good lighting, tilt the coin gently. On some rare examples, you will notice tiny zinc-like spots across Lincoln's face and background field, almost like little silvery freckles. Those subtle dots aren't damage, they're the secret clue. The sign you are holding something extraordinary. This coin carries more than metal, it carries memory. It was the last time Americans would see the two wheat stalks on their pennies. The last of the simple design that symbolized hard work, growth, and prosperity. And somehow this one, the 1958 with D with zinc dots, stands as a poetic farewell. It's the imperfect coin that became perfect in meaning. It's as if history left a small signature saying goodbye. So here's what you need to remember. When you hold a 1958 with D-Wheat penny, you're not just holding copper, you're holding the final heartbeat of an era that defined American change. And if that coin carries the mysterious zinc dots across its front, then you've uncovered one of the rarest and most beautiful mistakes in minting history. In fine condition, it's valued at a jaw-dropping $64,000, and that number keeps climbing. This isn't just treasure, it's history. It's art. It's the last whisper of a story that began nearly half a century before, and it's waiting for someone like you to discover it. You're watching Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, where every episode brings you closer to the coins that changed American history. Our channel is freshly updated every single day, packed with the newest discoveries, real prices, and shocking coin stories you've never heard before. Coin number 7. There are coins that are rare, and then there are coins that define history. Our final coin tonight isn't just old, it's ancient by modern standards. It's weathered wars, recessions, and the changing face of America itself. This is the 1918 wheat penny, a coin without a mint mark, a coin that has lived through the century, and one that carries the soul of an era when the world itself was on fire. And today, this century-old survivor is valued at a jaw-dropping $175,500. But that's not just because of its age. No, it is because of what it represents. In 1918, America stood on the edge of change. World War I was reaching its end. The world was recovering from destruction, and the United States was stepping into global power for the very first time. Factories roared to life. Families waited for sons to return home. And in the midst of this historic moment, the United States, mint quietly struck one of its most enduring designs, the Lincoln wheat penny. In Philadelphia, where no mint mark was used, the 1918 penny emerged. Millions were made, but few would ever survive what came next. Decades of circulation, the Great Depression, another world war, and a complete redesign of the penny itself. Yet somehow a handful of these ancient coppers survived the test of time. The 1918 wheat penny was struck from the classic alloy, 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc. But what makes this coin extraordinary isn't just its metal, it's the way it captures the hope of a world healing from war. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's portrait, stoic, determined, and unyielding, watches over the date 1918. There's no mint mark beneath it, confirming its origin in Philadelphia, the heart of the mint. On the reverse, 2 wheat ears arch around 1 cent, simple, honest, and symbolic of American labor harvest and rebirth. And after 100 years, many of these coins now bear a hauntingly beautiful black shade formed by natural oxidation, almost as if time itself painted them with the patina of history. Here's where things get thrilling and shocking. Even though millions of 1918 pennies were made, nearly all were lost to circulation, melted, or corroded beyond recognition. The few that remain in strong, readable condition are national treasures. And when one surfaces with that unmistakable black toning, smooth, glossy, and natural, collectors go absolutely wild. Why? Because that color isn't a flaw. It's authenticity. It's a century of oxidation that only genuine age can create. Finding a 1918 wheat penny in circulated but preserved condition is like finding a photograph from 100 years ago, untouched, unaltered, still whispering the story of the hands it passed through. Now, let's talk about what you have been waiting for. This 1918 wheat penny, without a mint mark, in circulated condition with its rich black shade intact, is valued at an astounding $175,500 in today's collector market. Yes, $175,500. And that number isn't fiction. It's current, verified, and rising. The market value of this century-old coin increases every single year. Why? Because collectors know they are not just buying metal. They're buying a piece of 1918. They're buying a century of American history. So if you ever find one, do not underestimate it. You're not holding change. You're holding a treasure chest of time. Here's how to recognize the 1918 wheat penny that could change your life. Look closely at the date, 1918, bold and sharp beneath Lincoln's portrait. There is no mint mark below it. That is your sign it was struck in Philadelphia. Inspect the coin's surface. That deep dark black shade is natural aging, not dirt or damage. And the details? Lincoln's outline, the faint wheat lines, the words e pluribus unum. Even if worn, they should still whisper their shape beneath the patina. That's how you know you're looking at something priceless. Think about it. This coin was minted while the world was at war. It passed through the hands of factory workers, soldiers, mothers, and dreamers. It survived the Great Depression. It outlived 2 world wars. It sat quietly in drawers, jars, and pockets, and now, over a century later, it is worth a fortune. There's something beautiful about that. It's not just money, it's memory. It's the physical heartbeat of American endurance. And for collectors, owning a 1918 wheat penny isn't about wealth, it's about legacy. So here it is, our final treasure in this countdown. The 1918 wheat penny without mint mark, a black-shaded century-old survivor worth an incredible $175,500. It's not fiction, it's fact. And its value keeps climbing day by day. Because when history, rarity, and emotion unite in a single coin, that's when the world takes notice. This penny isn't small change, it's a relic of America's strength, and it's proof that sometimes the tiniest things carry the biggest stories. So keep searching. Check your change jars, your grandparents' collections, your forgotten boxes. Because one day, you might just uncover your own piece of history, your own secret fortune, your own miracle penny. You've been watching Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, the channel that uncovers America's hidden treasures every single day. Make sure to subscribe, because our next video will reveal another shocking discovery that could be hiding right in your pocket. Remember, every coin has a story, and yours might be worth a fortune.